Saturn, our Lord of Karma, has been retrograde since June 17th, creating a lot of inner tensions, frustrations, delays that we had to struggle with, oftentimes internally. Well, good news, Saturn goes direct on Saturday, November 4th. Expect this stern planet that we love and appreciate to ease its grip and to help us problem solve and to allow for more forward momentum as it starts to move forward. Let's take a closer look at this transit and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer who creates content for you guys and does a lot of natal, relationship, and predictive readings. If you like my work, please like or comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. You also have the lovely option of saying thank you and buying me a coffee. And if you'd like to work with me, check out the links down below. Additionally, really big news, my astrology planner that I have been working on the last 6 months, if not more, is finally here. Look how cute, look how pretty. It's 225 pages and it's full of astrological insights. It has calendars for each month. It has beautiful transit pages, lots of astrological tips and tricks and retrograde dates, moon phases, so much, it's like, it's gonna take me a long time to describe. And look how pretty. It has everything your heart desires, and it can help you deal with more challenging times. It can help you feel like you have a little bit more control in this rather unpredictable world we live in. So links down below. Visit my website, Anastasia Does Astrology, and get yourself one. I am just super thrilled to have one because I am a big fan of astrology planners, and I felt like the ones I've been using didn't have everything I needed. And so what better way to address that problem than create your own astrological planner? So check it out and get yourself one. And once you do, let me know down below if you like it. How do you feel about it? So Saturn is in Pisces, right? Saturn went into Pisces in March, and it has been retrograde since June 17th. So the last 4.5 months, roughly. It stations direct at 0 degrees 30 minutes Pisces, and then is going to be direct for the next 7, actually close to 8 months. So Saturn has been retrograde. The range is from 0 30 degrees Pisces until 7 degrees Pisces. So if you have any planets between 0 and 8 or 9 degrees Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, or Sagittarius, you'll likely have felt the retrograde the strongest. But good news, if you did get kind of conjunctions or oppositions or squares from Saturn, now you only have one left, and the final aspect from Saturn tends to be the time when you gather all the knowledge, all the lessons, and you kind of make changes, you make adjustments, right? So Saturn is the Lord of Karma. Saturn is the planet that represents our legacy, that represents everything that is worth working on. It represents boundaries, it represents structures and things we build, right? So when Saturn is direct, you're building in a very obvious way. It's like a construction site where you are brick by brick creating something. And that could be your career if you're a Gemini rising and Saturn is in your 10th house, or it could be your friendships if you're a Taurus rising, or your home, your literal home can be being built, right? If you're a Sagittarius rising and Pisces is in your 4th house. But then Saturn has been retrograde since June 17th, and the retrograde phase is a lot more about facing internal blockages and delays instead of outwardly building or facing outward authority figures where you need to go get a permit for something. Instead, you are facing your own demons in a lot of ways, right? And I sure can resonate with that, especially since we just had the eclipse season and it's been a very emotional one. Did you feel like it was an especially emotional eclipse season? Could also be because, right, leading us into it was Venus retrograde, and Venus was in her fall the entire time of the eclipse season. So it's been intense, right? And so Saturn being in Pisces is not just the taskmaster Saturn. It's Saturn that wants us to process the feelings. It wants us, it's a bit melancholic, right? It's urging us to face everything and to not run away from it, to cry the tears. We've had until then, until March, we've had Saturn in Capricorn and in Aquarius for 5 years. So Saturn in the signs that Saturn is extra Saturny. Say Saturn in a sentence 15 times, I think. Cha-ching! I'm done. Why cha-ching? Never mind. So Saturn in Pisces is sensitive. Saturn in Pisces is emotional. Saturn in Pisces is caring and creative. So it's asking us to feel the feelings. It's asking us to process the losses we've been through, to find some type of guiding light, guiding principle, be that a community, be that a philosophy that you unite with, or astrology, or some kind of spiritual, some kind of, unity with the world is what Saturn is all about. So while Saturn was retrograde, perhaps you felt slightly disconnected. Perhaps you felt like, you were dealing with things that were hidden, that were quiet. Maybe you've revisited some blocks or some of past family karma and addressed some wounds. I think, like I said, I think this eclipse season has definitely been about releasing a lot of the past, right? And funny enough, we had a solar eclipse in Libra, and Saturn is exalted in Libra because Libra constantly weighs things, and Saturn likes that kind of slowness of, and the serious approach that Libra takes to making decisions. So a lot of I think inner work has been done in the last few months, and now that Saturn is going direct, woohoo! Let's take a moment to celebrate. How excited are you that Saturn is going direct? Now that Saturn is going direct, we can finally see how these lessons fit with who we are. Let's say if you realize that you are pursuing work that you took from your father. Let's say you've realized that you've been pursuing types of jobs that would make your father proud. And now as Saturn going direct, you can perhaps apply this knowledge and start looking for work that makes you happy. So from the inner growth comes outer growth, right? So Saturn going direct will become a lot more external, where you have inner clarity and you're able to take more responsibilities, address authority figures, work, and put things out in a more obvious ways. It will offer you chances to assimilate the lessons, to take action, to maybe start those creative projects, or to connect more with the community, to deal with your demons in a more productive way. Like another example would be starting therapy if it's something you've been thinking about, or starting to volunteer if it's something you've been thinking about. There's definitely exciting positive change that's coming together with Saturn stationing direct. So now let's take a look at the 12 rising signs. For Aries rising, Saturn is going direct in your 12th house. And with Saturn being retrograde here, you may have dealt with a lot of invisible forces, right? Sometimes 12th house is hard to describe because it's invisible forces, it's hidden enemies, but more often than not, you are your own hidden enemy. You are the person that needs to examine yourself and look closely at yourself in the mirror, right? So with Saturn being in the 12th house, there may have been a sense of there being no progress, or things feeling extra confusing, like you're sitting in this dark room and trying to figure out how to proceed, but not quite knowing the next steps, right? Like not quite knowing where to go, while feeling like 12th house in general is like birthing canal, right? Like I really like that analogy. So with Saturn being retrograde, the birthing process slows down and you get stuck, and you're still in that place of like, you need change, you feel pressure for change, but you're you have no choice but to just like examine your own self-defeating tendencies, your own fears, your own struggles. And so now that Saturn is going direct, you're finally will start to feel more forward momentum. This might be your opportunity to start therapy, to start volunteering, or start doing work that is healing both for yourself and for people around you. This could be the time when you start leaning more heavily into a spiritual practice of sorts. This could also be the time when that resistance that existed either from your hidden enemies or from yourself will start to lift, and you will become more you will kind of get more in touch. Like 12th house is self-defeating tendencies, but it's also skills and hobbies and interests and things that are hiding in our blind spot, like something you're not admitting to yourself. So something from your subconscious can be being born right now and can be showing in your life, right? And like Saturn going direct could be a realization that I'm meant to be a sex therapist, or I'm meant to do different kind of work. I'm meant to be known for something else. So please let me know, how has the Saturn retrograde period been for you, and whether you're excited about Saturn going direct or not. If you are a Taurus rising, Saturn is going direct in your 11th house. So Saturn being retrograde in the 11th house could have created a sense of isolation, right? 11th house is the place of community. It's the place of allies, but also our peers, or people who are on the same page as us. So I think Saturn being retrograde could have created a sense of disconnect, right? Like my friends are, example, right? My friends have kids. I don't have kids. My friends are all married. I'm not married. And like a sense of not quite aligning with people in your life. Or, you know, I just had a kid. My friends don't have kids. So now I need new people in my life. So there could have been a lot of sort of blockages, delays, challenges when it comes to connection. Maybe problems with your dreams. 11th house also represents your role in the collective. Social media, right? If you are an influencer, someone who's trying to get your foot through the door and get your content out, Saturn in your Saturn being retrograde in the 11th could have stalled progress on a lot of creative, a lot of group projects, a lot of social media projects. Well, good news, Saturn going direct in your 11th house could definitely, I don't know why I keep trying to lift it, it's supposed to be down. So Saturn going direct in the 11th house could offer a sense of more connection, right? Like if you, there still might be disconnect between you and your friends, but you're now finding common ground. You're finding things that bring you together. Maybe you are rediscovering certain interests that you share. Finding people who support you, both professionally and personally, is likely. And I think Saturn in general being in the 11th will make your network smaller, but it will make sure that only true friends, only true connections will remain. So I think a lot what you've been doing was perhaps inner growth and understanding of who aligns with you. And now that Saturn is direct, it will be easier to sort through worthy connections, to build new ones, and perhaps even like build a network around you as you're trying to pursue new projects and you're getting involved with community work and volunteering and sort of building a name for yourself and improving the world around you. Let me know how this resonates down below. If you are a Gemini rising, Saturn is going direct in your 10th house, and this is beautiful for your public life, for your professional life, right? Saturn being retrograde in the 10th house for a while would have been very stagnant professionally, or it could have felt like you're just dealing with a lot of maybe, like, you know, going back to the construction site analogy, it's like you've been building something and now the progress is slow because you're dealing with, instead of focusing on the design, you're dealing with the plumbing not working. You're talking to the kind of plumbers and you're addressing a lot of underlying issues. There could have been times in which you've just been putting a lot of work but not quite seeing the results. Maybe dealing with inner sense of uncertainty, right? Just sort of feeling stuck and not knowing how to proceed. Good news, of course, Saturn going direct will slowly offer more clarity. It will offer opportunities to take steps and to make choices instead of just internalizing things. So you may see more progress professionally. Maybe you're a YouTuber and you see growth in your channel, growth in your views. Maybe you get a raise, maybe you find a job that you've been looking for. So definitely more positive, definitely more supportive of you showing up as a leader, showing up as a teacher, showing up as a mentor, right? Saturn is very much the person in charge. And with him being in your 10th house, you are this person, or you're building towards becoming this person. Please let me know how this resonates down below. If you are a Cancer rising, Saturn is stationing direct in your 9th house, and 9th house represents growth, your beliefs, your philosophies. It represents travel, education, writing, and legal matters. And so Saturn being retrograde here could have created a sense of uncertainty about your place in the world, right? There could have been a sense of maybe even questioning your beliefs or questioning your guiding principles, questioning what connects you to the world. There's Saturn retrograde in the 9th house is definitely symbolic of some kind of like ideological crisis of like, why are we here? What are we doing? What is the point potentially? Could also have been the time when, if you've been waiting on a visa, the process got stalled. If you've been trying to travel, there could have been delays and a lot of, blockages. If you're studying or you're a teacher or you're like in education somehow, maybe you just felt uninspired and really not connected to what you're studying or what you're writing. And I feel like, just waiting for something, like applying to get your master's and having to gather paperwork, or having to like wait on other people, and maybe feel like you're restless or you're inspired to make changes, but you're not quite aware how to make changes. So Saturn going direct in the 9th house will make these topics more visible in some regards. Like if you've been waiting on something, you can get a letter and be like, okay, now we need this piece of paper from you, instead of just waiting for them, right? You have some kind of clarity, some kind of answers. Visas can move forward. Any legal matters you're involved with can move forward. Education, either you let go of whatever you're studying if it's no longer aligned with you, or you feel ready to take the steps, right? You feel ready to sort of take action. And just overall, I think like overall sense of clarity about where you're going is quite likely here. Please let me know how this resonates down below. If you are a Leo rising, Saturn is about to station direct in your 8th house. So with Saturn being retrograde here since June 17th, you could have faced some tensions surrounding money. 8th house represents debts and taxes, and maybe you started to feel quite serious about getting your finances in order. Of course, 8th house also represents dependencies on other people and all kinds of entanglements we have with other people, where we believe that we have to take care of our parents in old age, right? And so maybe for some people it's stopping them from living their life because they're waiting, or they feel like they can't move away because what if something happens to their parents? That is very much an 8th house. Or you are a young parent and you are at home because it's believed, or it's like, it's an agreement that you're the one who's going to be kind of raising children while your partner is working, or your partner is struggling and you're taking care of them. So all of these dynamics, all of the financial questions, or all of these agreements, they could have been heavier with Saturn being retrograde. And now that it's going direct, I think it will be more likely that you will find some answers and you will find opportunities to untangle yourself, either by paying actual debts off. Maybe you've been working really hard and you saved up some money, and now you can chop away very quickly from your debt, right? And get yourself in a good standing. If your partner has been going through some kind of difficult time financially, their finances can start to improve. And all of these tensions and agreements and connections with other people that bind you, it might become easier to understand how to separate from them, right? Like how to resolve these both attachments to the past when you're maybe letting your wound affect your present, and your relationships and your connections and your beliefs or spoken and unspoken agreements that let you affect your life. It can be more clear how to separate from them. If you are a Virgo rising, Saturn is going direct in your 7th house. This is great if you have dealt with any relationship struggles, right? Saturn being in the 7th could create a sense of disconnect. Can also bring like a sense of, maybe you feel no longer connected to your existing relationship. Maybe you feel like things are sort of stagnant romantically, right? Maybe you're struggling to make things work, or relationship has felt like just this grind and something that you had to make extra time for and commit to. And so there could also have been a lot of internal growth where you've been asking, what is it that you want? What is it that truly makes you happy, potentially? And with Saturn going direct, I think this like inner introspection that you've been experiencing, this introspection is likely to turn outward, and perhaps all the knowledge you've acquired about yourself is now making it easier for you to go out there and date, or to communicate with your partner what you want. If your partner has been going through struggles and dealing with difficulty in their life, it is likely that their life will slowly start to build back up, and they might start to feel better if they've been dealing with like health issues, right? Sometimes Saturn in the 7th could affect your partner's bones and teeth and skin, and maybe they're dealing with like health issues. So Saturn going direct can be very constructive and positive for improving their life as well as improving your relationship. And please let me know how this resonates down below. If you are a Libra rising, Saturn is going direct in your 6th house. And if you have been grinding away, if you have been feeling stuck professionally, maybe you've been waiting for something, right? Let's say you are an actor and you've been waiting for actor strike to end, or you've been dealing with some kind of health problem that you didn't see any results, or like I said, work project. Saturn going direct can bring forward momentum there. So, for me, literally, like I've been so busy working on this guy, on this planner, and now it's here, it's existing, it's in the world, and I'm getting ready to, it's already on sale when you're watching it. Today is actually the final day before it goes on sale, but like kind of seeing the fruits of your labors is likely here. If you've been applying for a job, or if you've been about to start a new job and there's been a lot of adjustment, Saturn going direct could actually be the period when you start to feel more recognized, more appreciated, more accomplished, right? It's very much how much work you put in, that's how many rewards you're going to get. Health-wise, your health might start to improve. This could be the good time to actually take action on your health, towards your health, improving your health. Saturn rules bones, Saturn rules teeth, skin, any sort of boundaries and, hard structures within us that protect us. And so if there has been any like skin issues or teeth issues or any kind of health projects you've been thinking of undertaking or undergoing, changing your diet, like Saturn going direct could offer you opportunities to actually take those steps and take those actions to better your work life and to better your health life. And please let me know, dear Libra risings, how it resonates down below. If you are a Scorpio rising, Saturn is going direct in your 5th house. So Saturn has been retrograde here since June 17th. And Saturn in the 5th is a bit of a dry spell on some level, sometimes literally. But it's also the time when pleasure becomes harder to access. It could be the time when you're working on something or your partner is not there, right? Or your partner is struggling with something, and and you're just so focused on building. It could actually, maybe you're building a creative project, right? Or you're building a business, or you're just sort of focusing on something. Another possibility here is, so to finish the point, like if you are building something, that might be the reason why there isn't as much time for fun, right? But another possibility here could have been feeling uninspired, could have been feeling stuck, right? Like you are not quite aware how to pursue things. And so with Saturn going direct, this is an opportunity to start to maybe slowly introduce some pleasure back into your life, right? You still have to be thoughtful, and maybe you have to check your schedule against your husband's schedule and make sure that you are in the same place at the same time and you can go on a date. Creatively, this could be the time when things start to align. If your child has been struggling, or you have been dealing with some kind of serious topics connected to children, maybe you've been looking for school for them, or you've been looking for a doctor for them, anything that might be difficult in their lives can finally start to resolve as well. So I'm quite excited about that, and I'm curious what you have to say down below. If you are a Sagittarius rising, Saturn has been retrograde in your 4th house, potentially creating a lot of pressures around home, family, living situation. A friend of mine is getting a mortgage for her and her boyfriend's apartment, and she's dealt with a lot of kind of difficulty and a lot of mental back and forth of like, do I want it? Do I even like this apartment because it's his apartment? So, there could have definitely been like a lot of, less external visible action in the home and with family, but more like inner, maybe dealing with childhood wounds, maybe dealing with mortgage or sale or real estate project being kind of stalled, and you questioning, do you even want to have green walls, or maybe you don't. Maybe a family member has been going through a difficult time, and now that Saturn is turning around and starting to move forward again, right? It's likely that the progress will become more external. It's likely that after doing a lot of inner work, you're now able to implement the results, right? Like if you make changes to your renovation project, great. If you decided that you no longer want to sell, or you kind of realize how much you want to sell for, there might be, maybe you're getting offers, or maybe you're getting, now after thinking for a long time about where you want to live, you're finally able to go out there and look and pull the plug perhaps. So a lot of kind of positive changes and developments when it comes to home, when it comes to property, when it comes to real estate and family or parental karma. Sometimes Saturn being in the 4th house can literally create more pressures in the lives of your parents, less so affecting you, especially if you're not someone who's like in the process of shopping for a home or selling a home. Could be affecting your entanglements and your dependencies on your parents, or your entanglements with the past and how the past is still present in your life. So there could be, maybe with Saturn going direct, you get a therapist and you start to put better boundaries with family members, especially those who are toxic and unhealthy for you. Please let me know how this resonates down below. If you are a Capricorn rising, Saturn is going direct in your 3rd house, and Saturn being retrograde since June 17th could have created blockages around communication, around self-expression. 3rd house is the place of writing. It's the place of chit-chat and sort of freedom of expression, right? So Saturn being retrograde, for a friend of mine who is a writer and an actress, literally created a sense of, well, now there's a strike and now there's no work, right? It could have created, maybe you are a writer, right? And you put out your novel and an editor just sort of tore it to shreds, or they've been taking too long to give you feedback. Saturn being retrograde could have also created a lot of like inner tension about your skills and about your knowledge, or sort of made you question, what do you have to offer to the world, right? Your business could have slowed down. Your relationships with your siblings could have become more tense and strained potentially, or any matters that are involved with siblings could have been more difficult. So Saturn going direct is like really good news. You are ruled by Saturn, so it's not just Saturn going direct, it's your chart ruler going direct. And to me, it's positive, right? Like if you are waiting for the writer's strike is over, but if you're waiting for an actor's strike to end, hopefully, good news, it's going to finish soon. If you've been waiting on feedback from your editor, it can come. You may experience a sense of more clarity about your future, about your goals, and just sort of be more free to travel, to write, to study, to speak, to move your business, to connect with siblings. There's definitely an opportunity to like slowly start building the momentum back up. And please let me know how this resonates down below. For Aquarius rising, Saturn is going direct in your second house of money and values. And if you've been feeling in the last 4-5 months that finances have been a sore topic, maybe it's been more difficult to get what you want, or you felt like you're not rewarded accordingly to your skills, you felt blocked. Maybe you've been just realigning your resources, just moving them and investing them into something like buying a home, for example, or saving to become a parent, right? Or something else that you've been dreaming about. Saturn going direct could be a chance to also have some money to spend. This could be the time when you're able to both invest but also eat the cake, right? This could be the time when maybe you start to feel more confident in yourself. Not even that, of course, it's possible that you will also get financially compensated and rewarded professionally. Maybe you get a raise if you've been waiting for it. But I also think Saturn in the second house could be going direct in the second house could be indicative of feeling more confident within yourself. All of this inner growth you've been experiencing and all of the questions you've been asking about values, about interests, about self-respect, I think are now becoming more externalized, right? Like your inner progress is shining outwardly, and your confidence and your self-love is making other people be more generous with you and more, and making them recognize your work a lot more. So positive boost for finances, positive boost for self-worth and happiness. Now, if you are a Pisces rising, Saturn is stationing direct in your first house, and I think it's exciting. I know a lot of Pisces risings have been struggling. It hasn't been the easiest time with Saturn in your first house. Saturn going retrograde could just create a sense, or could have created a sense that you just can't get out of something that you're trying to get out of. It's like you got these new goals, you got these new ideas, but Saturn going retrograde has been a lot about addressing inner stagnation, addressing like past wounds, addressing inner blocks, and maybe feeling like you just can't get out of something that you're trying to get out, right? There's too much paperwork to deal with. There's too many health issues to overcome. There's too many obligations you have to people to start your new life, for example. So Saturn going direct here is a lovely boost for your health. I think if you have been, dealing with any sort of pressures on your health, as Saturn can sometimes create, you will likely experience an improvement to your vitality. This is a good time to take care of your boundaries of your body, so your bones, your knees, your teeth, your skin, your hair. Not necessarily so much hair, but maybe a little bit hair. But I think like health-wise, you're maybe meeting better doctors, you're maybe becoming more serious, because like remember, Saturn in the first house is all about you. So a lot of times if you're feeling blocked or you're feeling frustrated, the first kind of clue or the first suggestion would be to look within and to ask, well, how are you not being your best friend, your biggest ally? So through making positive health changes or through making positive adjustments to your everyday life, you can actually start to see your outside environment change and your confidence grow, and perhaps even you starting to show up in the world in better ways and starting to show up in the world as your ally, right? Like the more you build yourself up through small tangible steps, the more the world will see it and reward you accordingly. I hope this resonates. Let me know down below. Let me know how Saturn in the first house been for you. Don't forget to check out my 2024 planner, my first ever. Super excited about it. Will not stop talking about it. So thank you for your support. Thank you for being here, and thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.